I have to say, after finishing up the Tri series, this movie was a breath of fresh air. Just from the opening few minutes, I was instantly drawn into the story and was just amazed at the level of quality in the animation and the soundtrack. It is a very good musical score. I mean, Future kind of got close to having a halfway decent musical score, but most of the Tri series was quite dull in this department, but already, this just excels. This masterpiece takes place 5 years after the defeat of Ordinimon, where there is an aurora that is causing all kinds of electrical issues. In Japan, this is followed up by Parrotmon. We see the Digidestined have coordinated this attack, with communication going between Izzy, TK, Kari, Tai, and eventually Matt. We also see that Izzy has been busy. He found a way to augment the Digivices into a normal smartphone, as well as even experimenting with a new pair of goggles. I can't be the only one looking at this and thinking of the Vats from Fallout. While there is a fair bit of destruction, the Digidestined managed to send Parrotmon through a digital gate. There isn't time to celebrate, as Matt and Tai have to get back to college. In school, Tai is being teased by his peers, not only for skipping breakfast, but not finishing his thesis statement. Guess he didn't learn his lesson from Mr. Nishijima. As for Matt, he's being seen as a really important person, being a Digidestined and all, and there are rumors that he's about to join the military. After school, Matt and Tai get together to have a beer. They talk about how it seems like everybody has their futures figured out, yet they still don't know what they want to do with their lives. As they talk about the difficulties of adjusting to adult life, the person in the seat right next to them all of a sudden collapses for no reason. At first, Tai is thinking they had just a little too much alcohol, but she had not had a single thing to drink. She's perfectly fine, just unconscious. The next day, there is an explanation from Yoli, who is studying abroad in Spain. She receives a mysterious message about these incidents and wanted to pawn it off onto them. Matt and Tai ask Izzy what it's about when the sender of the message comes forward, Menoa and her assistant, Kyotaru. It's caused by a Digimon that they had been researching. They call it Eosmon. What it is doing is collecting the consciousness of all the Digidestined, digitizing them, and storing them in an unknown location. The plan is simple. They are to upload the Digidestined to the internet, where they will defeat Eosmon and get the data back. Upon entry, they are given weapons to cage in Eosmon. To me, this area looks just like Oz from Summer Wars, which is all kinds of weird parallels. So, the director, I hope I'm saying his name right, Homoto Asoro, originally directed the second Digimon movie. So that's the interesting thing about Digimon the movie is it's not one movie, it's actually 3 of them. Which even the director, Jeff Nimoy, was like, it would just make more sense to just go for the first 2 as the first one was an introduction to what Digimon was, and I think the featurette was about like 25 minutes, while the second movie was about 40 minutes. So, combining the 2, you have a feature that's a little over an hour. But yet, the third movie that was added in was a full-length movie, and trying to figure out how to connect the dots between all 3 was not an easy task. But anyway, the second part is the section that was directed by Homoto Asoro, where essentially the Digidestined had to fight a Digimon that was corrupting the internet infrastructure, and thus was starting to destroy communication as we know it. The director then ran with this concept, removed Digimon, and then made Summer Wars. It's just kind of crazy that there is such a parallel between these movies. Anyways, things seem to be going well, until Eosmon digivolves. Matt and Tai take it up a notch by bringing Omnimon, but for an unknown reason, Omnimon breaks apart, allowing Eosmon to escape. Unfortunately, no consciousness was collected. On the outside, Manoa explains what happened. The link of Digimon and their Digidestined comes from potential. When a person is young, they have a lot of potential. A kid can grow up to be anything. But as they get older, that potential starts to dwindle more and more until it just kind of runs out. And when that happens, the Digidestined have to say goodbye to their Digimon partner. And not because they separate, but because the Digimon stops existing. The first marker of this happening is a Digimon being unable to digivolve properly. And then on the back of the Digivice is a little ring of light with a whole bunch of little dashes in them. And when the ring is gone, it's all over. But even more than that is that if you were to attempt to digivolve in this circumstance, those rings would decrease even faster. Tai and Matt refuse to accept this. Tai takes Agumon home, while Matt trails the mysterious Kiyotaro. At Tai's apartment, we get an odd scene where Agumon finds Tai's stash of porn. This is one part hilarious, but one part disturbing. I mean, Tai is a college student at this point. I'm not going to blame him for having a few magazines laying around, but Agumon is just too pure of a soul to know what that is. That night, Genai appears. So, how did he get uncorrupted from King Drazel? Are we just gonna retcon that? Tai asks him how he can reverse this, when Genai says it's not possible. Tai then wonders why they were never told this sooner, to which Genai states it's the same reason why people don't want to know when they are going to die. On Matt's end, he calls up the O2 cast to see if their Digivices have the countdown. They do not, so Matt asks them to look into Kiyotaro and Menoa. They find Menoa's office, and with the help of a digital gate, Yoli is able to hack into her computer. Once again, Yoli should have gotten the crest of intelligence. Time appears to be running short, as Mimi's consciousness has been taken. Joe looks after her, but there is nothing physically wrong with her. Matt then calls a meeting in the bathroom. He gets the feeling that they are being watched, and there would be no cameras in there. He also gives them burner phones when they share their information. Izzy was able to uncover a fragment of Eosmon and is trying to figure out where they went. Matt also shares one more piece of information. Menoa used to be a Digidestined. Outside of all the research she's doing, this goes a long way to explain how she would know so much about Digimon. Matt is able to find Kiyotaro's base of operations, where the O2 cast call him and tell him all they discovered about the pair. Turns out this Kiyotaro is not to be trusted. In fact, they're very certain that name is an alias. Izzy then gets a disturbing link from Kari. A live feed of Kari and TK being held captive. Izzy traces the feed, and Matt follows. Turns out that even at the hospital, Joe's consciousness has been taken as well. When Matt gets there, we see the captor is Kiyotaro, or so it would seem. It turns out he is a deep cover operative for the FBI, and has been after Menoa for years. He does, however, manage to show Matt where TK was being tied down. TK and Kari are freed, but both have been robbed of their consciousness. Izzy then finds the location of Eosmon. He sends the coordinates to Matt and Tai. When Menoa comes in, she is excited Izzy found the location of Eosmon, and she even shares some good news of her own. She found a way to save all the Digidestined. All she just needs is access to Izzy's database, so that she can find the location of all of them. Izzy knows she is not to be trusted. In analyzing it, a fragment of Eosmon, he found out that the Digimon is artificial and was programmed by a human. And after comparing this code to other known authors, he finds the signature to be a perfect match with Menoa. By the time Matt and Tai get back to Izzy, he is gone. With the coordinates, Kiyotaro uploads the pair there. Inside, they find Menoa, who introduces the area as the Never Zone. That's Mako. I kind of thought after the backlash that the character got in future, they were just going to completely shove her to the side, but no, she makes a brief cameo in this movie. Menoa wagers in keeping the Digidestined as kids, and they will never have to leave their Digimon. Matt, Tai, as well as myself, know this is just no way to live your life. If you were to just kind of repress anything that has ever happened, you might as well just be frozen in time. There's no way for you to grow as a person or to be able to experience anything different than what you have up to that point. Instead of pining for a time in your life that'll never happen again, I think the importance more goes on what you can do to make your present self happy as well as your future self happy. Because there's no way you're going to be able to go back to the past. And then again, I never really got on to this whole wanting to go back to being a kid again. I'll discuss further as to why in the next movie review, but let's just say I didn't have a very good childhood. And dang it, my life has just been incrementally getting better as I've gotten older. So why in the world would I want to go back to a time where I'm repressed and can't make my own decisions? As an adult, I can make those choices for myself. And I much prefer that over everybody else making decisions for me.
The Never Zone is protected by Eosmon. While it's getting to a point that digivolving is gonna destroy the bond between Matt, Tai, and their respective Digimon, they all agree to go for it. Eosmon is defeated, but Menawa has another trick up her sleeve. She revives Eosmon and summons an entire army of them. They open portals from various parts of the world and start taking all the Digidestined that they can find. Except for the American kids, as the O2 cast is fighting the good fight in defending all these Digidestined. In the Never Zone, Menawa wants to continue living in her world of lies, and fuses with Eosmon to become the goddess that she thinks she is. Omnimon is formed, but is defeated, and quite brutally, I might add. We see him lose limbs, but yet he still carries on the fight. After the defeat, Matt and Tai are being held down by the other Digidestined. According to Menawa, they want to live in this world forever, to keep having the adventures with their Digimon, and what their goal is counteracting it. Tai doesn't believe any of this, and takes Kari's whistle to knock them all out of it. Upon waking up from their hypnotic state, they all wonder what just happened. The situation is explained quickly, and they all start the attack on Menawa.
There is one last Digivolution before both have to go their separate ways. And just like Menawa before, they manage to fuse with their Digimon. It's kind of an interesting thing because this was definitely a big part of Season 3, so while it's still definitely amazing to see this, it's still not as shocking as it is for the rest of the Adventure 1 cast to see it.
I don't know if these Digimon have names, but they look amazing. The pair defeat Menawa, only to find that she is a desperate woman who just can't let go of the past. As that was her thought process, she figured that everybody else was the same way, so in her messed up way, she figured she would save everybody from the hurt that she had received. Menawa is taken into custody when Matt and Tai have one last moment with their Digimon.
In their last moments together, the Digimon ask one question. What are you going to do tomorrow? Both Matt and Tai think about it for a second and realize there's a lot of things they could do. And as they discuss plans for what they're going to do tomorrow,
their Digimon are gone, and their Digivices turn to stone. The movie ends with Tai finishing that thesis, how humans and Digimon can coexist.
I feel like this movie came out at just the right time for me. So with Digimon Tri, I was in college, so it was kind of hard to relate to the struggles of a high schooler trying to figure out how to make their way in the world. While here, I was finished with college, and I even put a down payment on a house. And that's very much the moral of this story, is the idea that as you become an adult, you have to say goodbye to things that you had when you were younger. It's a difficult thing for some people, while others will wholeheartedly embrace it. But at the end of both journeys, it may be painful, but you will find something just as special on the other side. And the other thing I really like about this movie is I feel like a big marketing point was the idea that the Tri series was meant to be a little more adult. But upon watching it, I'm starting to see that instead of it being adult or mature, it's more edgy. This movie feels mature. Not in like a gory way, not in like a perverted way, but more in the idea that there is a core message here that adults can resonate with that the kids of the audience would completely miss. The biggest thing I love this movie for, it's leaps and bounds better than the Try series, is the involvement of the O2 cast. It's a bit annoying that they're relegated to a supporting role, but at least it's better than in Future, where they were just relegated as a plot device. Personally, I feel like Adventure 1 did a really good job on its own already. It didn't need a remake. It didn't need sequels. O2, that is a season that has a lot of problems and, in my opinion, is the weakest series in the entire franchise. So, if there's anything that could redeem any of these characters as well as that season whatsoever, I'm on board for it. Not to say that their appearance does all that, but I like the idea that they're not forgotten. They're not just scrubbed away in order to just easily sell the next franchise. So when I saw that there was a whole movie dedicated to the O2 cast, you could bet I was very much on board. So, that is Last Evolution, Kizuna. I hope you'll join me next time, where the movie gets even better with O2 beginnings. Until next time, keep having fun.